Hello again, everyone. Raw Life back with another Lufenia. This time, Invaders from Distant Seas, Layle, Lufenia. This one is a TCC Challenge. No Synergy, no Tifa. This one and all the other runs, TCC runs on my YouTube, are dedicated to Mino Spellgood. Mino, I know you see me. Stop hating. Anyway, I brought Ramza, Galuf, and Bartz BT. Galuf effectively neuters the boss's attacks as long as you keep his buffs up. He will cover, he will counter, he will dodge, pretty much everything they do. The orb is launch orb. Pretty simple, goes away at 50%, but you have to launch them to up the orb. The actual orb isn't that big of an issue, and with Galuf, the boss mechanics as far as attacks aren't really an issue either. So the whole reason this is a challenging run is simply because of the threshold mechanics. At 79%, 49%, and 29%, these guys do an incredibly annoying mechanic where they will jump turns. So they'll jump and mess up all the turn order and move next. They will start cutting your HP damage dealt to like 10%. So you legit cannot hurt them much at all. And the only way to get that aura off of them is by launching and doing 150k damage in that single launch. Mechanically, in theory, doesn't sound that tough, but when you think about it, the first person who initiates the launch, no matter what, their damage isn't going to really contribute to the launch because that aura is up. So it's like, if they do 100k, or more likely, 75k, they're going to do like 7k damage instead. And so it's up to the other two members of your launch party to do all that damage. So we're already here at the first threshold, 79%. I went ahead and threw in Layle friend here. I'll go threshold by threshold. I have 3 different ways of dealing with these guys. Layle, I kind of misplayed here. As you can see, they're at 4 each on the orb, and they both just went into this aura where they cut down your HP damage. And I brought in Layle. Probably should have LD'd, but they're both launchable now. But as I said, the HP damage is so minimal when they're in this aura that it's hard to get a launch to do 150k. So I had to do a little bit of manipulating, and Layle friend will push you through one of these thresholds easy. Layle, his new LD, basically launches and brings everyone in the launch with him, no matter what the turn is. So the main problem with this fight is that, yeah, you can launch them, but can you get the other 2 guys in your team back to back after the launch fully batteried or batteried enough to get you over that 150k? So that can be an issue, obviously. As you saw there, the first hit does barely anything, but we get the R off him. You get a little can't block HP damage or whatever. That's how you know you knocked it off. So the next one will come up 49%. I've got the Layle friend out here, so I'm trying to just smash these guys down before I burst with Bartz. Because I know coming up at 49%, I'm going to have to do another one of these damn thresholds. And the second one we'll deal with using call assists and Ramza LD, I believe. And then the final one we will summon. Pandemonium summon helps you launch more often or something. And Layle actually has a debuff now, or a frame debuff, force, that stays on them most of this fight, and it also helps launch more often. So this fight, if you have turn manipulation and launches, then it's not that tough, obviously, if you can get everybody in the right order. But without Keiss and without Layle in the party, or without all launchers, it's just it's kind of a pain in the ass. My first run, I did this team, but I brought Keiss instead of Ramza, and that worked really well. His turn manipulation combined with giving other people launches was fantastic. But unfortunately, he is banned for the challenge, so I had to look a little elsewhere in my roster, and I came upon Ramza, LD only Ramza. Haven't used him in quite a while, probably since Transcendence 1, but it was nice to get him out once again. As you see, we're bursting toward the 49%. That is where they'll do their threshold again, but also the orb goes away. And Bartz hits a little 2 mil on his burst phase. Very nice. Shout out Bartz. I've been really enjoying his kit. I've been using him a lot lately. One of my favorite BTs. I wanted his LD at least. Got his BT, thankfully. And I've really been enjoying his kit. So also shout out to Galuf, because as you can see from this run, pretty much anytime the sharks move, not only are they not really going to hurt anybody, but they're also going to get countered hard by Galuf. So if I had to approach this run without Synergy, Tifa, or Galuf, probably just wouldn't do it because Galuf is just so great here. As you see, they go below 50%, or B does at least, and they lose the orb, and they go into their second aura. So I'm going to try to push them out without summoning. I'm trying to get both of them launched, or one at a time, obviously, but with the 2 people behind the launcher being batteried. If you don't do that, you're going to have trouble, because, see, the launcher on that one only did 226 damage. Yeah, so, and also Ramza's LD, batteries based on HP damage, so when he only does 226 HP damage, he's not really battering the guys behind him. So mid-Italian call here was clutch. He's got a turn rate down. Now that we have 8 debuffs back, I was able to put all of mid-Italian's stuff back on her, so I had removed some of those passives and weapons so that when the 6 debuffs was the max, I could use a mid-Italian call just to delete turns without worrying about the debuffs. But this run, obviously 8 debuffs is good, and a mid-Italian not only deletes the turn, but drops some of those important debuffs for the rest of the fight, and we love that. Here I am a little more nervous than I should have been, or a little more careful, because it is really big pain in the ass if you launch one of these guys and you don't have the numbers behind the launcher to get that 150k. Pandemonium summon is huge here, obviously increasing the damage, I believe, by 25% for every launch. So that's awesome. Really useful in this fight specifically. So now we're entering the second half of this fight, and this is just getting them down to 29%, summoning, and getting those launches on both of them again. Summoning Pandemonium, the 29% really makes the final threshold very easy. Combined with the Force debuff and inside Panda summon, we're just we're home free once you get past the first 2 difficult ones, unless you mess up, which, you know, I've done before, obviously. But at 29%, it'll be our last threshold, and then we just kind of smash these guys down, because if you remember Galuf, he is basically making them completely useless in attacks. When they're attacking, they just can't hurt me, because as long as I keep Galuf's buffs up, he blocks everything, dodges everything, counters. This was really nice here. immediately off the summon. First move got B launched for 100, obviously 300, but got his aura off immediately. And so now I'm looking at A, and once I launch here, hit them with a couple batteried shots, 300k again, and now they are done. So no more HP damage down auras. Basically just keeping the buffs, making sure Galuf's buffs don't fall off, making sure we don't get caught doing something stupid, and we'll be home free. It does feel like they get a little tankier here at the end. Bartz's BT effect fell off by this point, so that was part of it. But these launches can be difficult. It can be a tough fight if you are not paying attention to turn order, not paying attention to Brave Battery, because the launcher every time is not really contributing to the 150k. So be careful of that. If you're looking for some tips on this fight, my tips are bring Galuf and if possible bring Keiss or Layle because they really change this fight. It's been a while since I've seen a fight personally where the bias was so strong towards the characters. Synergy team of like Celis, because Celis operates very similar to Galuf here, but with lock. Celis, Layle, Keiss. This fight is just absolutely nothing. But if you're trying to do something a little different, you may suffer because these sharks are mean. But we've got them down here 7-8%. We do notice that we may have let a buff fall off of Galuf, so that's a pain. Luckily it wasn't one of the most important buffs. I believe it was just his LD buff, so he didn't do the double counters, but we'll fix that here shortly. And if you didn't notice, we kind of like flew by at the beginning, and that was a miss, but Galuf it missed because of his physical evasion, so we were safe. The beginning of the fight kind of flew by. Lots of the thresholds came quickly, but here we're just kind of suffering through, just trying to get to that finish line. Bartz says, I'm done with this. And we finished these guys off. So that was the TCC challenge for Layle. I will not fight these sharks ever again, probably. Kind of a pain, but if you like it, like my runs, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.